Got it. All right. Good day, everyone. My name is Phiwa Nkambule. I'm the co-founder and CEO of FinanceGPT Labs. It's an honor to be in your midst. I'm currently in Eswatini visiting my family. And one of the things that I continually pay attention to when I'm in countries like that, which is a very much developing country in Southern Africa, is that my aunt, who is a farmer and a shopkeeper, has been struggling and continues to struggle to secure financing for a small business, which is based on subsistence farming and selling some of the produce. And she struggles to get financing for it because, she's part of the unbanked community or the unbankable community, which is a phenomenon for a lot of people in developing countries like Eswatini, formerly Swaziland. A lot of countries in, frontier markets in Asia, in Latin America, and all over Africa. So this is one of the, the biggest challenges that inspired us to walk this journey with AI. Being able to help solve problems around limited access to loans, limited access to insurance for those communities, and limited access to financial services. So the name of our company is FinanceGPT Labs. We are democratizing access to high performance financial analysis solutions. So FinanceGPT Labs is a technology company that focuses on harnessing the power of generative AI and machine learning to create innovative solutions that empower financial professionals and investors, more especially in markets, in frontier markets. Our vision is to be the driving force behind the new era of AI powered financial insights, pioneering solutions that push the boundaries of accuracy and empower smarter decisions, shaping a more transparent and accessible financial future. I will skip the mission for now. So our team, my co-founder and I have spent time in AI, in technology, and also in the finance space. I worked in VC, and she worked as a banker, which is where we, encountered some of the problem more when dealing with small businesses on the African continent primarily. So my talk will be structured around, talking about democratizing finance with generative AI, and using our company and our experience as a use case or a case study for the talk. So one of the biggest problems currently in the generative AI space is that existing generative AI models focus primarily on text generation or limited predictive analytics, often lacking true generative power and struggling with complex nonlinear relationships in financial data for financial use cases. So because of how data has been structured, you just have a lot of the reports and the tasks that are given to generative AI models or the traditional generative AI models are usually very generic answers that lack depth, that will make generative AI powerful enough or useful enough in financial use cases to replace or to properly enhance the functions of accountants and wealth managers and asset managers. And that is an area of interest that we are focused on, solving for nonlinear relationships that you find in financial data, solving for overfitting overfitting and generalization issues, and solving for limited access to reliable data, especially in emerging markets where there's actually very much scarcity, a lot of scarcity of financial data. So we've built a system that uses generative AI to generate realistic financial data that can be used to improve investment decision making, investment decisions and financial analysis. So it's a quantitative generative AI framework. So it's a framework because it's not just a model. It's a suite that underlines generative AI products. A suite that consists of models, that also consists of technology techniques that enable users to generate their own models for their specific use cases. So the unique value proposition for this is that it generates synthetic financial data sets that mimic real-world market dynamics and capture intricate relationship for robust analysis and forecasting. So what this would do is that it would enable analysis in areas where financial data or historical data is scarce. So here's how it works. It would technically, so I'm just taking you through this for the benefit of the rest of the conversation. So what it would do is that it ingests and analyzes the historical data, and then based on the historical data, it is able to pick up the patterns in the data and learns to mimic those data sets so that it builds a synthetic data set that can then be used to augment the original data set, to be able to generate insights that make more sense using traditional LLMs. So as I said, it's a generative AI technique that works hand in hand with large language models. So large language models from OpenAI, from Facebook, from Google, Hugging Face, Anthropic, Stable. So it's not really a replacement, but it brings the quantitative element to the traditional large language models. So just since releasing our products to market, we've reached over 5,000 professionals and investors in the financial services space, and some about over 900 are in enterprises. We've been able to demonstrate what we've been working on at key competitions and events, and we've gained some form of market traction and recognition for what we've been working on. So we also have pilot projects that we're working on, where we've seen how generative AI can change, can deal with inequality and change the financial landscape, to be able to enable financial institutions to properly finance and bank the missing middle. So one of the projects is one that focuses on helping micro lenders in Africa in predicting loan eligibility. So these micro lenders deal with people similar to my aunt, who do not have financial credit history, financial history. It looks at patterns around the project looks at patterns around people with similar circumstances to generate a synthetic historical record of those kind of small business owners, to enable credit scoring for them. We're also working with a group of farmers in India to optimize crop yields based on weather focus. So we are working on because our model or our framework focuses on time series based generation. So we working on a non-financial use case using the framework to test it out outside of finance. And then we're also working with small businesses in different parts of emerging country markets that want to develop their own personalized credit options. So the benefits that we've seen from this is that it's improved financial decision-making and risk management. It's increased access to financial products and services, and it's also enhancing economic growth and social development in these countries. So it is important for us to build a responsible AI future so that no one is left behind, especially in a revolution as big as the current or the ongoing generative AI revolution, which is what inspired us the most to start working. Because when we started testing out generative AI models out there, we're already in the AI for finance space, but mostly on traditional machine learning. And we realized that there was a lot of bias that existed in the existing models. The existing models were more biased towards, the more developed countries that were trained on data sets for developed countries, especially the United States, Europe, and they lacked insight on emerging and frontier markets. And this was worse when it comes to financial use cases. So an analysis task for someone looking at Kenya would give insights that would be for a business, if you're analyzing a company, whether to invest in it or not, and how it's performing. It would base the analysis, it would give an analysis that would feel like it's an American company that is being analyzed. So there's a need to really deal with these concerns, which are very genuine and very real in the generative AI space. And that is how the democratization will happen. That is how everyone will be covered. That is how everyone won't be left behind. Because if things remain as the status quo is, as financial institutions adopt AI, investment will flow more towards the developed countries that are properly covered in existing models. And, a lot of business activity will drive business only towards those developed countries, and the inequality gap will be widened. So we've taken a very different approach in building working with our models and working with our framework. So we embrace data diversity. We're actively sourcing data from diverse populations and sectors to mitigate bias. So we have a project called FinanceGPT Patches, which has a nonprofit approach. We approach governments, we approach organizations in different countries on a partnership basis to try and get as much as we can from that specific geography, so that their data sets and their experiences can be included in the work that we do, in the projects that we're working on, in the models that we are building, in the context of the frameworks that we are building. So we've also introduced we introduced a quality assurance feature that helps us around algorithmic fairness audits. So we regularly test and mitigate potential biases in our models, but we also allow users to, to request quality assurance assessments, so that we learn and fix issues that may be persistent in the work that we generate. So we're also using explainable AI techniques, implementing frameworks that provide users with insights into how the model reaches its conclusion. Still a little bit early on that, but it's something that we're heavily working on that should be adopted in the sector to improve fairness. So we also have user education and feedback loops. So we empower our users to understand how the model works and provide feedback to continuously improve fairness and transparency. So we collect feedback from our users. We have a platform that allows them to actively engage us and work with us in the process of building. We've got commitments that we have, which is something we believe players in the space would have to do. So part of our commitments are clearly disclosing data sources and training processes used in the model, allowing users to access and challenge model decisions based on explainability tools, and providing avenues for users to report and address potential biases they encounter. So this is very important in us ensuring that we do not lose our touch with those that we built this for us to ensure that we do not lose touch to our mission and our vision, which is to democratize, which is to bring equality, economic equality through generative AI. So we stand on the shoulders, or we stand shoulder to shoulder with researchers, policymakers, and fellow innovators to establish robust ethical frameworks and industry-wide standards for AI-powered tools. So we are not working in silos, and we believe that is what the industry also has to adopt, a very collaborative approach, because this is one of the things that will ensure that there's peer reviewing, there's checks and balances, there's ensuring that AI is good, that AI is for the benefit of the people, that AI is for the development of the world. So this is an approach that we've taken, as I've explained, that we have a project, or we have an arm that focuses mostly on multi-stakeholder engagement and multi-stakeholder collaborations, which are how we built our company. So our call is, to invite everyone to join us, to work with us in building a smarter, more data-driven financial future. And my presentation ends here. So I do not know if there will be a Q&A. Hello.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.